under the belt. Super excited.
Beautiful. You know, what's funny about this is I think I might have actually we might not have been live. So for anyone that is tuned in, I thought we were live. Then I realized we weren't live. So I'm just going to do this one more time. Hey, everybody. Welcome to The Future Belongs to Creators podcast with me, your host, Barrett Brooks, hailing from Portland, Oregon, where the weather is gloomy. No, I'm just joking. I'm Haley Janisek. I am in beautiful Boise, Idaho. And this is my lovely co-host for today, Miguel.
How's it going? You know, better than being welcomed one time, you're welcoming them 2 times. So they feel very happy to be here. I am Miguel Poe. I have been here at ConvertKit helping people for almost 4 years now to basically get going. Anytime they hit a snag, I'm here to help them on the support side. Support engineer here. And you might remember me from the last time I was here a few weeks ago with Nathan. So here we go. Podcast number 2. Let's do this.
Yeah, I think I might be on podcast number 3. I think this might be my 3rd time, but I probably sound different because now, like Miguel, I have this really fancy podcasting mic, which I am just like really excited about. So I probably sound like a totally different person, but on my end, I produce creator sessions here at ConvertKit. So that's kind of what I do. And I think the last 3 times actually I've been on, that's been the majority of what we've talked about, because it's I guess a fun topic to talk about. What's up, Teddy? I see that you're there. Miguel number 2. I like it. Good deal. Well, let's see. We've got to stick to the schedule, right? Nathan and Barrett's schedule. So I guess the thing that we'll start out with is red, yellow, green. No, actually, you know what? I want to take a step back because I want to tell everyone one of my favorite Miguel memories. And we do, for everybody that's listening or that doesn't know this, we do these awesome company retreats and we do them twice a year, with exception to obviously COVID times. So I haven't seen everyone in what feels like a year and a half. But my favorite Miguel memory was walking in to, I guess you could call it the party room at our retreat. And Miguel is ad hoc got out his guitar and it's karaoke night, but nothing has been planned. And so my favorite all-time memory is with Miguel and his guitar.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I think somebody brought a guitar. I don't even know where it just came out of nowhere. Maybe, I don't know. And it just kind of floated into the room, and then all of a sudden just the music started playing. I don't know, did it sound something like this?
Sounded just like this.
Yeah. You know one?
Oh. It sounded just like this.
Tonight. I'm not going to play that. That nobody deserves.
Oh,
nobody wants to hear that right now. That's not what people are here for.
Oh, I was really excited. I just let me down. We'll have to wait until another episode for that.
We'll wait for my creator session and then it'll be fine.
Yes. We'll have to, anybody want an encore? If you guys want an encore, make sure that you throw that in the chat. So, anyways, well, let's get going with red, yellow, green, right? So you can go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. Well, let's sum it up. It's Friday, so that's awesome. Having fun doing a podcast number 2, so that's awesome. So all in all, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm a little bit ahead of you, and as far as time zones are concerned, so I'm kind of at the end of my day here on the East Coast. So looking forward to just kind of having a nice weekend. So I'm doing pretty good. How about you?
I was real nervous to do this, mostly because of the technical components and setting up some things. Normally, if I join, right, it's Nathan or Barrett that are setting it up. So I was a little bit nervous about that. I'm feeling much better now. But if ever anyone that knows me knows that I am obsessed with plants. It's a big, actually a lot of us at ConvertKit are obsessed with plants, but as Miguel said, he's in a different time zone and he is in Florida, which makes me incredibly jealous because do you see all of those plants on his back wall and outside. That's basically my dream life. But because I live in the desert, I can't have half of those plants, and it just makes me really jealous.
Well, if it's any consolation, these plants just started growing here. I don't even know how to get rid of them. They just, I'm fighting to keep, I can't kill them. They just won't stop growing. So I feel like we have the opposite problem a little bit. I don't know.
Mm. Yeah, so that one and the has it's in the white pot, and I'm gonna butcher the name, but I think it's like an alocasia. And for the record, so I have a side hustle called Happy Happy Houseplant with my partner. Her name is Mandy Gubler, and she has a popular blog called Vintage Revivals. And we started this project called Happy Happy Houseplant together, where we basically teach people how to care for houseplants. So, like, I would say I've got a pretty green thumb, right? But that particular plant, I have killed 72 times at a minimum. At a minimum. And that is zero exaggeration. In fact, because I have a side hustle plant business, I feel like I should be able to take care of it, but I can't. So I'm convinced it's like if I'm going to teach people to take care of houseplants, right? I should be able to take care of all houseplants. That, however, is one that just it doesn't like me.
Well, I mean, it looks like I'm really good at this, but this is actually my wife's plants. She just tells me, "Hey, build me a shelf. I have more plants to put on them." And then I
Mm,
say, "Yes, dear." And then I just do it. So
yeah.
I love living with plants, but I have a black thumb. So luckily we're a great duo. I just build the shelves. She stuffs them with plants and everybody's happy. So
I love it. I love it. Well, yeah, my husband doesn't build me the shelves. So, Matt, if you're listening, build me some plant shelves, please. Um, anyway, so today is Q&A Friday. So I would love it if anyone who's watching throws in some questions in the live chat about whether it's Miguel's side on the support side of things, on my side, maybe on the creator session thing, or really anything that has to do with creating content. So, but I got a question I posted on my Instagram, and I got a question from none other than the Nathan Barry. And I want to read it because I feel like I'm not going to be able to say it. I don't want to paraphrase. I want Barrett to hear exactly how it came out of Nathan's mouth. And he said, in your expert opinion, why is Barrett Brooks such a pain in the to work with? No, I'm joking. That was me absolutely paraphrasing it. But he was just giving me crap. But I got a ton of questions about creator sessions, and the last episode which just premiered what, an hour and a half ago, an hour and 9 minutes ago, exactly, with Ingrid Andress. And I was so excited to share this episode because she just in November, if you're a country music fan or really just a music fan, she was nominated for 3 Grammy Awards. And she is, the best part about it is that she was this was her debut album, so I think she got nominated for best country song, best country album, and best new artist. And in the last part of her episode, right, it's amazing, and in the last part of her episode, she sings this song called Ladylike, and she tells this amazing story. And it's actually why I love creator sessions so much, is because you get to hear like the storytelling behind these songs that come to life. And in future episodes, it's where I hope that creator sessions continues to go, is that we get artists before they're huge, like when their careers are still in this attainable place. But she goes on to tell this story about this song Ladylike. And she was a student at Berklee College of Music. She started writing songs. She eventually decided, I can do this. I'm going to go to Nashville and I'm going to write music in Nashville. And she thought it was going to be so easy. And it wasn't easy, because she realized it. I think she realized, the way she describes it, is that the South is very different than the West. And early in her career, she was writing music for what she people wanted, but it wasn't music that was necessarily true to her. It was like about beer and trucks, right? And she's like, well, that really wasn't that really wasn't my experience. And so she decided, like, I'm going to start cutting these songs for myself because I don't want to hear publishers telling me anymore that people don't want to hear about this stuff, because that's just not my experience. And as a result, it landed her 3 Grammy nominations. And I just can't like get that out of my mind. In fact, the last 2 weeks ago, we had a creator session, and I think it actually might be my favorite one, but it was with a photographer named Amy Vitale. And one of the quotes that she says in hers is that we have to stop creating art for what we think people want. And it's one of those things that has just like really resonated with me. And it's where I feel like I see creators reach the most success is when they start doing the things that they just feel like are right for them. And it might not be right for everyone, but it's what's right for them. So hearing Ingrid talk about that story was really cool, because that ultimately is what led her to, she followed like what she knew to be true. And now she's got 3 Grammy noms. So can't beat that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a cliche, right? But like when people tell you, if you decide that you want to do something and you're not afraid of what's going to happen, and you just do it for all the right reasons and you work really hard, you can do and attain whatever you want to do. And it sounds so cheesy when I say it out loud, but in my life, anything that I've ever done that's been like that I look back to and I feel really proud about, it was in the face of a lot of risk. I wasn't sure about myself. I wasn't sure if it was the right thing. It could all blow up in my face. And sure, sometimes things do blow up in your face, but then you just learn and you try again. And I mean, very few people get it right the first time anyway. So why be afraid of screwing up? Just do it for the right reasons and just at least be proud that you did it anyways. And sometimes it gets you 3 Grammy nominations. Like holy crap.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. And I mean, that's really how I feel like about creator sessions, right? Is how it like came to be, kind of thing. It was just a pandemic. And I've said this before on the podcast, but it was one of those situations where my job felt non-existent. I managed all of our events, and I had just kind of moved. I had done that for a long time in like a business development fashion, but I had like really moved into that role right as the pandemic hit, and we had gone to podcast movement. And that was the last, and I'm 99% sure that I had COVID and got it from podcast movement. If any of you guys were there, did you get COVID from podcast movement? But,
Yikes.
and this was the one that was in Los Angeles. And so then I got into this situation where I was like, every single event, right? This is late February. So every single event that I had done just canceled. And I was like, I feel like I wrote this post and Barrett said, go do it. And it was kind of this loose general idea. And I just like could feel it in my bones, right? That something about it was going to work. And so far, it has worked. And now, we're, gosh, what, 8-9 months in, and we keep getting better and better artists. So it's really fun.
Yeah, it's I mean, one of my favorites was when we had is it Matt Carney? I always
Matt Carney.
Carney.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that when you told me we had him coming on, I had like a meeting during them. Like, I'm just like, sorry, with my boss. I was like, sorry, CT, we're not meeting today. I gotta go do this thing and watch Matt Carney. So I was super stoked about that. So, and just watching him do that was a real blast. And yeah, I mean, it inspired me when I watched it, and I just played guitar the rest of the night because I was like, I was suddenly remembering all of his songs that I had taught myself how to play years ago that I hadn't thought of in so long. And then I was just like, I don't know, I started like writing my own stuff, and just like, I don't know, it's just inspiring to just see other people and creators doing what they do. So
that is like, I know that wasn't a direct compliment to me, but that was the best compliment to creator sessions, because I think, in creating, figuring out what creator sessions actually is, the thing that I want it to do more than anything is inspire other creators to do something, right? And that's why one of the things that we ask them to do is, to just be like as candid and natural. We don't want them to feel like super highly produced. There's a few of them, We have, spoiler alert, we have Mandy Moore coming on. She'll be released at the end of the year. And it is so good, but it is definitely like highly produced, right? It feels more like, it feels more like professional grade camera. Obviously, a lot of the stuff that we're doing right now, I call it COVID quality film, but they had a whole film crew in there. They had a whole film crew in there. And it was amazing. But for Matt's episode, so when I send out like a creator brief, right? And in that brief, I'm saying like, this is exactly what we want. I get to talk to the creators, the artists and whatnot. And I always, with every single creator brief, include the clip of Matt Carney and I said of him getting up to Google his own lyrics, because that moment was life-giving to me. It was like the greatest moment of creator sessions probably to date for me, because it's like stars are people too, and man, I just loved that moment more than anything. Also, probably my favorite thing about creator sessions is finding out, or like getting to talk to artists, right? Or like people that have for all intents and purposes are famous, right? Is talking to people that are super down to earth and real people. And Matt Carney is one of those people. He was just like, I felt like we could be friends, and he was sitting there holding his baby girl, and it was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. We got a question though from Teddy. Miguel, can you talk more about going from a teacher to ConvertKit? I haven't actually heard this story, so I'm excited about this one.
Well, I guess you must have been here the last time I was here. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell myself I have a fan now. So that's cool. It's amazing what 3 seconds of guitar playing will do. But no, yeah, I'd love to talk about that. I talked about it a little bit last time, so I don't want to, kind of say the same thing again. But essentially, I loved being a teacher, and I did it for about 5 years. And anybody who's a teacher, and if anybody here has teachers in their family and stuff, knows that it can be pretty hard work. It can be a grind sometimes. And for me, I still feel like on some level, I want to be a teacher in some respect, and maybe I'll figure that out in my later in life. Maybe in my twilight years, I'll go back to being a teacher. But ConvertKit is something that is near and dear to my heart. And when I was looking at this job, I just knew I had to work here. They work to help creators. It's not just some company that's just trying to like find a niche and make some money somewhere. Like everybody I talk to here genuinely either is a creator themselves or is committed to the mission of helping creators. And it's not just lip service. And I thought that was so awesome. And I got serious about turning my hobby of being kind of like a tech savvy person that kind of like dabbled with some code to like really getting serious about it, learning how to code when I was living out in Seattle. And kind of just made this happen. And I've been here for almost 4 years now, and it was the best decision I ever made. And it wasn't in spite of being a teacher. I feel like I've always been kind of a creative person, and I got to be creative as a teacher. You create lessons, you find ways to, in a lot of ways, it's like having an audience. You have to keep their attention. You have to make what you're saying worthwhile to them, or you're just going to lose them. And then they won't. And then now you're just talking to a room of faces that are just tuning you out, or wish they were somewhere else, or, pulling out their phones where they're not supposed to. And so it's constantly a struggle to keep yourself relevant and keep people engaged. And so much about being a teacher is just lends itself to this job and the people that we serve. So I still find that to be hugely beneficial in my job today. So yeah, there's no experience in my opinion that is useless, because you can always apply it to something else.
One of the things I listened to actually that podcast with you and Nathan, and one of the things that I really loved that you said was you had to get over the mindset that what you had done in the past, it was like wasted time. Right. And I loved that you said that, because I feel like it applies to so many things. And if we're just like applying that to us, like I could apply that exact thing to like 3 stories that we've already talked about, right? Like I, for example, or for example, Ingrid Andress was writing songs for other people. And then she started writing songs for herself, and she had to like learn all these things during that process and then apply that stuff to her current role as as being the artist versus the songwriter, and look where it landed her. Right. Or like you in your role, you're constantly interfacing with customers, and you're not just solving their problems, but you're actually teaching them how to solve their problems. Right. Or you're teaching them how to better use the application or whatever. And so that's been something that's like, for me personally, my background has always been in like sales and business development. And as a result of what I'm doing now, it's like we've been able to get a lot of customers using, people that have been on creator sessions now using ConvertKit. And that's through things that I had applied on the business, or learned on the business development side. So, but I loved that you had said that. I feel like it's just it's an easy thing to not realize or to not recognize that kind of thing. But obviously that experience was really applicable to your, what you do here.
Yeah. Like the creator session from today, how she was writing for other people and writing about beer and and stuff like pickup trucks and stuff. She got really good at doing something she knew she didn't want to do. So it teaches you what not to do, what you don't want to do. And sometimes it's just as valuable as knowing what you want to do, is being really skilled at knowing what you don't want to do, or having non-examples instead of just examples. And I think that without all those years of writing music for other people, I don't think she would be where she is today, obviously. So, yeah, always draw on past experiences to help you with what you're doing today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Teddy, I saw that. He just wrote in the chat. I don't think Miguel's looking at it. He said, Nathan had me running down links to Charlie's videos for the chat episode. And I loved that. I watched that too. He's like, Nathan, Teddy will go do it. I loved that. It was funny. But let's see, what else do we want to talk about? Can someone else in the chat throw us in there a question? I think Nathan and Barrett had posted something on Twitter, but I don't know how much love we got on their post. So we got to come up with some other questions. But I did also hear one time on a podcast, Nathan said that the co-presenter and presenter, it's like their questions get priority. So, do you have any questions?
Sure. That's true. Well, while we're waiting for some spark of, I guess, inspiration from people there, we can talk a little bit about, because you and I were talking about this before, is knowing how to get started as a creator. Because I feel like a lot of the times when I'm talking to people and helping them with things in ConvertKit is, you're maybe, whether you're an artist or, you have some kind of educational thing that you want to get out there. You might be really good at your craft, but are you also supposed to be really good at, being your publicist and your marketing person and all these other things that go with like getting it's unfortunately, it's not enough to just be awesome at something. Yeah. You also have to like get that message out. And sometimes things catch like wildfire and they go viral, and that's great, but we can't count on that. So how do you facilitate that? How do you turn a following into something that you can have a conversation with your followers, whether that's through email or some other medium?
Yeah.
And
what's funny is so Alyssa on our team, she's been on the podcast before. She leads our deliverability team, and Alyssa's husband has been like a saint to me in creator sessions because he's actually a producer, and he produced some of the songs or did something for the drum tracks. I think he tracked the drums is the correct way to say it, on a few songs on Ingrid's album, Ladylike. And Alyssa being in the email side of things, right? She's always going in their studios in the back of their house. And so, she'll be working, or Thomas will be working with artists, and she'll ask, say, oh, they're just making kind of small talk. And they'll be like, oh, what do you do? And she goes, oh, I do email marketing at ConvertKit. And these are like new artists, right? They're new musicians that are just getting started. And every time she says that, their response is like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to start. I have no idea what to do. Could you please help me? And if I had to give a piece of advice to anyone, I would say just don't overthink it, right? Like there's going to come a time in and I'm specifically talking about email when you're just getting started, because oftentimes there's that, it's like, you think it's so hard, so you're scared to, like dive in. And my advice is don't overthink it, and just write emails in the very beginning, like just to get started, like you're talking to your best friends, right? Like build a relationship. And in fact, there was one artist that we had worked with, and I was asking them, I was like, tell me a little bit about your email strategy. And he was saying, well, we don't really have an email strategy. We just send out marketing emails, right? And I was like, have you ever thought about sending out emails from the person, just like casual and really like relationship building style emails where you're just communicating back and forth in a way? And he's like, no, because he's a person, we think that email should be marketing. And I was like, that's where I'm going to disagree. And I'm like, try this for me. Send an email one day that's like, hey, this is so-and-so. I'm writing this song and I want to hear your feedback. This is how I'm feeling today. And it feels very honest, feels very vulnerable. And it feels just like, it's like you're building a relationship, right? And that's, if I could give that one piece of advice, it'd be like, don't overthink it. Just write what you know, or write what you feel to get started. The strategic things, the funnels and the automations and the consistent newsletters, that stuff will come. But if you just get started by like having an honest, real conversation through email, that's a really easy way to get going. But
yeah, that feeling, you get when you get an email and it's like a newsletter or it's like an order confirmation for something. It feels so blah and whatever, and you either ignore it, or like, if you put it away in a folder or something or whatever. But whenever every like once in every 1,000 emails, you get an email from an actual human being, and it's almost like, when you get a package in the mail, it's like mini Christmas. You're like, oh my God, an actual email from an actual person that's meant for me, and not just like some template for anybody. And it feels different as a recipient. It feels different when you're writing it. And across the board, what we always see is that always has better engagement too. So not only is it easier to just write an email to a person, it also more than likely will be opened and read if it's just a basic email. If you put a bunch of pictures and fluff and links in there, people are going to be overwhelmed or annoyed, and just, if they even open it.
Well, it doesn't feel personal.
Right. It doesn't.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it's your mom doesn't send you, like an HTML email with like, fluffy stuff all over it, right? She writes, hey, Jessica, hey, honey, or whatever she writes. And it's just, like a boring, simple text email. But those emails perform the best. And not just because like from a deliverability perspective, right? And the algorithm and whatnot, but they perform the best because it's coming from a human being to another human being. So
right.
Yeah. All right. Teddy is coming in hot for us right now, and I am loving it. He asked a couple of questions. Top 3 lessons from producing creator sessions. I'll get to that. Can we add Kygo to the to the 5-year creator session plan? More people need to know how unreal he is on the piano. 100% on writing it down right now. I totally agree with that. And first artist to 1 billion streams on Spotify. Yes, that I agree. I'm putting that on my list. Having said that, you would be incredible. Nathan Barrett, we're going to need to increase my creator sessions budget a wee bit in order to make that happen. Teddy, if you want to send them a personal email that says, increase creator sessions budget, that would be awesome. No, I'm teasing. It's been fun, but gosh, my top 3 lessons for producing creator sessions probably are, one, centric around equipment. that has been, that's been a thing that I don't feel like would be really difficult during COVID or during non-COVID times, but during COVID times, it was like everything was sold out. And so it was just like figuring out what the right equipment setup was and just making sure that I was incredibly specific with what the requirements were centered around equipment. Because if you do not do not give very specific directives, then you're not going to get good quality film or good quality sound back. That was hands down my first and biggest lesson. We've had a few episodes where it was sad at how poor the sound was, and it's like heart, it's like gut wrenching, right, when you're listening to it. Let's see, another lesson is, this one has been really important for me, but it's kind of hard when you're the way that we're working through like talent agencies and things like that, right? Is there's gatekeepers. And within those gatekeepers, like you really have to be specific from a contractual perspective, and you really have to push for exactly what you want. And what I found is that every creator session that I get the opportunity to talk specifically to the artist and versus have the management relay the information to the creator, it is always made for a better creator session. And that's most like, it's the manager's job to do that. And it's the right, like, it's the right thing to do, to like, that's what their job is for the artist. But I push on that probably more than I push on anything, to make sure that the artist like knows who ConvertKit is, what the messaging is. And what I try to do is make sure that when the artists are telling stories, that they're speaking to creators, right? They're not speaking, it's different from when they're speaking to, like, they're at a live show. We're asking them to go a layer deeper. And so they're not speaking to, right, an audience of fangirls or fanboys, right? They're talking to other creators, and their job should be like, they should be inspiring them. And so those are the stories that I want from them. And then, gosh, I don't know. I'd have to think about a third. Who would you like to see on creator sessions, Miguel?
Oh man. Well, first of all, I'm pretty blown away that we're getting Mandy Moore. So let me just say that straight up. Like, fun fact, she's actually from where I grew up, which is Central Florida. She went to like the high school next to my high school. So, I have a little like extra love for Mandy Moore just because she's like, representing a little bit.
Yes.
But yeah, but for me, I've always, I would think it'd be really cool to get somebody like, if we're dreaming big here, like someone like Jack Johnson would be amazing. Because like obviously everybody knows Jack Johnson, but like his music is always like really, I feel like everyone connects with it. Like if I play Jack Johnson, like my dad likes it. He's like, hey, who's playing? And like, because it's like pretty chill, and like my wife likes it. And if you put, I don't know anybody you put on Jack Johnson and they're just like, ugh, like what are we listening to? Turn that off. Like it's just like, it's such a great music to listen to. So if we're aiming big, definitely him. That'd be cool.
All right. Jack Johnson, writing that one down. He is really amazing. And you're right. Every single person knows his voice. I think sometimes I struggle with, I'd love to hear what people's opinions are on this, but I struggle with deciding for creator sessions talent, if it should be artists like an Ingrid, or we have this really amazing artist that's coming up next week. He's actually my creator of the day, so I'm going to hold his name. But creators that have like an attainable career, right? Where their name isn't so big and so recognizable that people don't immediately assume that like, I'll never be that famous, or I could never do what they do, or, oh my God, that kind of thing. Where there are some creators where you see their success, or you see what their stage in their career, right? And you're like, I could do that. I could get there. And there's like it's like a different level of inspiration that each type of creator brings. So sometimes I can't figure out if should we aim for the biggest creators in the world? Should I aim for Beyonce to be on creator sessions? Like, should that be my goal? Or should my goal be getting, Wilder Woods, which is like Need to Breathe's lead singer, right? Bear Reinhardt, which again, just in case anyone is wondering, he will be premiering in 2021 and it's really good. But like, who should we be aiming for? Like what type of creators? So if anyone has any opinions, I'd love to hear that. But gosh, we are 35 minutes in. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's hear your creator of the day then.
All right. Well, mine is a little YouTube channel you might have heard of called I Like to Make Stuff. Have you heard about that?
I have. Yes.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
It's kind of following the theme from the last time. The last time it was a woodworking thing. This one's kind of in that way, but I Like to Make Stuff is super cool. I get sucked in to watching videos, um,
Mhm.
because it's just like sometimes it's woodworking stuff, sometimes it's metal, sometimes electronics, sometimes it's like looking at like a 3D printer, sometimes it's all kinds of stuff, and I just get sucked into it because I'm somebody that like I not everyone's like this, but I don't like to just pay someone to do something, especially if I look at it, I'm like, I could do that. Now, there is something to be said for just not having enough time to do certain things, but
Mhm.
so it's not just like a cost saving measure. I just love to know how to do stuff. And like I've sort of unfortunately, the downside of that is building an identity as that person, because then everybody who knows you is like knocking on your door asking you to like fix this thing on their car, build
Mhm.
me a bench outside, build me shelves for my plants, but like, stuff like that. But I, uh, I love everything about it. And I mean, he's huge. I mean, he's got like millions and millions and millions of views. So he like doesn't need me sponsoring him here, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm into. And that's the first thing I thought of when I thought of a
I
creator
love
of the
that.
day.
Yeah, that's I'm definitely that person. I also have a high desire to like learn how to do things. And my husband has a lot of skills. Being handy is not one of those skills. But it's tough because my dad is very handy, right? So my expectation of someone is that they should be very handy, right? And so that's like a high bar that I put him up against. But so I'm constantly calling my dad and asking him to teach me how to do things. And my next project is I want to make one of those benches with the key pocket holes, and then I'm going to braid the leather, and I have a whole leather side hide sitting right there that I have all ready for that project. So I'm very excited about it.
You have a
Um,
leather hide.
yeah, yeah.
Dang,
I'm like,
that's
I know,
that's
right?
you're all in. Wow.
I
Okay.
know. I'm all in. I'm all in. I'm very excited about it. But what you said reminded me of Charlie on gosh, Charlie's YouTube surprises me every time I'm on it. But with her accent, I thought it was Cop's husband, who she said was they referenced. I don't remember if it was the creator of the day or she just referenced him. Um, in an episode with her and Nathan, but then I realized I had to Google it a lot, right? And then it auto corrected as Corpse's husband. And this guy has a YouTube channel and he basically just tells scary stories and then talks about Among Us, I surmise, I think, on his YouTube channel. And the guy's got like 5 million subscribers and he's anonymous too. So that makes him like extra cool, I guess. But I'm like, man, 5 million people like to hear a guy with a deep voice telling scary stories and talking about Among Us. Who would have thought, right?
Wow.
Well, Charlie and Nathan love it. So, like, maybe I'm missing something, but that's why I love creators because there's something for everyone. My creator of the day is um we like I said, sneak peek, he's up on creator sessions next week, and we actually had a different creator booked for next week. And the song, he had written a song called Walk With Me. Everyone should go listen to it. We can add it in the show notes. His name is Goldford, and he wrote this song. That's what he goes by. His name is Jeffrey Goldford. And I think the way he described it is like, it's like a silver Buick, he's like that's how he described his name. Like, it's not a silver Buick, it's a gold Ford. But he wrote this song called Walk With Me. And it's really about, and which it's beautiful. It's why I think it applies so much to this podcast. But it was about creating and being with people in the time of a pandemic. And as a result of really like the impact that the words have had on obviously the listenership and people that have, been a fan of his, the song has done like crazy well in the last, just couple of months. And so we decided that we wanted to release his episode next week. I'm really excited about it. And he was also just like a really genuine, beautiful human. And so I was excited about that. But yeah, Goldford, Walk With Me. It's a fantastic song. It's about humanity and just being with people, and kind of understanding people at this time. And you can obviously kind of pick it up from the title of the song, but it's great.
Yeah, I'm super excited for all of the art that's going to come from the last year of being in a pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Like this snapshot in time. I mean, we're going to be hearing songs and movies and shows about this past year for time to come, and
Mm-hmm.
it's all starting to kind of like creep out finally.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to kind of see how people are channeling this into art. So
Yeah.
it's one of the
Shameless
few.
plug.
Yeah.
Shameless plug for our very own Henry Tong, who did a creator session. If you haven't watched it, it's great. He's a documentary filmmaker, but he is creating a documentary on creator, like how the pandemic has affected creators. I'm really excited for it. He's gotten some beautiful, beautiful film for it. And to your point, I'm just really excited to see what this kind of like just terrible time in history, what beautiful things are going to come out of it. It's that's a constant reminder, and I think a reminder that humanity needs is that there's always beauty like found in pain, and at the end it might not feel like it in the moment, but it's there, it's on the other end somewhere. So, well, is that it?
I think so. I mean,
I think so.
unless Teddy's got more questions, but I think we've leaned on him enough. I think
We have leaned in on him enough. Well, thank you guys. This was really fun. Before Miguel and I went on this, we are like, all right, let's keep it to 30 minutes. We're going to keep it to 30 minutes. And here we are at 42 minutes. So I feel like, it was a success.
I think so.
All right. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
And